All right, y'all. My name is Fatima Edwards, and you are watching Ways of Wellness, where we are talking all things wellness journeys, holistic lifestyle, and even wacky wellness stories that you're not going to want to miss. And we are here accompanied by a beautiful special guest, Jessica, who stage name, Instagram name, everything name goes by Skittles the Nurse. How are you doing today?
Hi, wow. Thank you so much, Fatima, for having me. I'm doing well, actually. Doing well, even though I was on call last night, cath lab. Shout out to all my cath lab nurses.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we're just going to jump right in. We are so grateful for you joining and being willing to be our special guest. And we're just going to get started with just tell the world who you are, what you do, why you became a nurse.
Okay, so yeah, like you said, I'm Jessica, one of 11 children. Mm-hmm. So with that big family, you know, I've always been a caretaker, empathetic. Mm-hmm. Actually, while I got into nursing, though, I have a son. I actually had him in high school. I was 17, so you can do it. And they gave him formula. I was a breastfed mom. So I've always kind of been on the holistic natural path, but his intestines ruptured. And he spent about 4 months in the hospital and then subsequently had multiple surgeries, multiple abdominal and gut issues. So that really led me into being more holistic and why I became a nurse. Mm-hmm. So as soon as high school ended, I went right into college for nursing. And I've been a nurse ever since.
So what I heard was I had a son, ruptured intestine, and you just had to get into it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I said I would never leave my child again.
Yeah.
Because I went home to get his car seat, and that's when they gave him formula instead of breast milk.
So the formula caused the intestine to rupture. Guys, we are getting into it, already juicy. So tell me about what that was like when you were getting support from Western medicine for your son with the formula. What was that like?
Oh, yeah. So initially, they didn't know what happened, like why his intestines ruptured. And it was so sudden. It was like within 4 hours or something. He had to be life flighted. So with the medicine, of course, I'm thinking, save my baby, give him surgery. Okay, believe in everything that they said. But of course, they said it couldn't have been the formula, right? But of course, now, fast forward 26 years, we're in a lawsuit for that. But with that being said, had I not understood being raised more holistic, you know, my parents didn't believe in Western medicine. I didn't get any vaccines until I was in nursing school. So they didn't believe in that. But knowing the holistic side of things that we have in this earth versus the medicines that they create, and they help acutely, but I don't believe that they're supposed to be long-term. We're supposed to do some lifestyle changes. Yeah. And if not, then you just kind of succumb to those injuries. And that's what happened with my son. So it was the hugest life lesson I've ever learned.
Wow.
Yeah.
And was this how old were you? Like, you know, you had him at 17, young. When did you have to just put this adult hat on and say, you know, I got to care for this child because they're not really caring for it right now, you know? So how did you, how old were you when that happened? And tell me about, like, what was going through your mind? Like, were you scared? You know, what were you feeling in that moment?
So when first, I think the caring already started when I found out I was pregnant, right? So it was already a bond that's made. Yeah. But then when I found out that his intestines had ruptured and he got sick, it was unbelievable. I couldn't imagine it. And then he had to get life flighted, and they didn't let me fly with him. So, of course, more scared than anything. Like, hold on, I left my baby once, and now y'all telling me I have to leave him again, and it's 2 hours away. I have to drive. You guys are flying. Like,
they try to separate you from your child?
They did.
Yes,
they did. And I don't know. Back then, I was like, well, hold on. Yeah. Why is this happening? Is it because I'm a teenage mother? Yeah. Like, what is this? But anywho, long story short, we got him to, you know, a children's hospital where they were specialized care because where he was born wasn't. That's why he was 2 hours away. But we stayed in the children's hospital, Choa, go ahead, Columbus, Ohio, shout out, for 4 months. And I learned everything. I learned central line, dressing changes. I learned how to put in an NG tube by myself with a 2-month-old. Yeah. I learned how to push heparin for blood clots so he didn't get sick again. I learned how to do ileostomy bag, cut it, shape it down. I learned everything. So at that point, I'm 17 in high school. Wow. So I graduated on time and I went right into nursing because again, he didn't just have a one and done with his intestines. This is still a lifelong thing, and so it was kind of like every 3 to 6 months he was getting sick.
Yeah.
And now we, again, holistic, so we eat healthy, exercise, but it was every time he would get sick, like a common cold from school, and the inflammation would travel into his intestines or something and cause a blockage. He would get a small bowel obstruction every 6 months. I counted it for 2 years straight.
6 months.
Every 6 months, yes. So we would have to go back to Columbus, a 2-hour drive from where I lived. But I learned so much, again, why I'm in healthcare now. So it started a long time ago, but totally scared, still get scared to this day because he'll still have a small bowel obstruction. But knowing what I know now, we rest the bowel. I am so keen and so steadfast on being hydrated because when you get dehydrated, that is when your body does not work. So, and I have done this over the past 26 years with my own child, knowing when he gets a smaller bowel obstruction, don't put nothing in your stomach. It all starts in the gut. Wow. And I've just experienced this for 27 years. Wow. My son is 27. I say the 26, 27 years because...
You look so good.
Oh, girl, thank you. It's the hydration, y'all. Stay wet. Stay wet. I love that.
And as she was saying, we're here at Ways of Wellness. We are not here to bash the Western medicine industry at all. But what we're here to do is to help people understand their options when Western medicine is not working for them. And the problem right now in the United States is that people don't know what to do. They don't have the education, and as y'all heard, Skittles the Nurse journey was prompted by this pain from her son, and you had to get educated and get going. But other people might not have that same motivation, or they might be going through something with their child and they don't have the time to become a whole nurse to care for their child, right? Exactly. So what are some advice you can give other parents who might also be not just a ruptured bowel, but might have a child that Western medicine is not caring for? And they might also not be able to go and be a whole nurse, right? So what are some holistic tips other than the hydration that we know, right? Stay wet, y'all. That parents can do to care for their children?
So I do think it could be a trial and error, seeing what foods they like. I do believe in eating more foods that come from the earth, grow foods. I know everybody can't go be a gardener or a farmer, so try to go to the farmer's market, maybe even some communities. I've come across a lot of communities that I've served, and they have gardens, and they will give you free food. It is a lot of produce that happens with the zucchinis and the squash. Just spice it up a little. I do think trying multiple options as well. Just see what works. Yeah.
So you've got 26 years of trial and error. So what are some of your top tips, things that you do?
So
just walk me through your routine.
Yeah. So I am a big tea drinker. So I start my morning with some tea, maybe sometimes in the night, or I could just go all day drinking tea if I'm like really busy, because we stay booked and busy, y'all. And just being out in the street sometimes with multiple clients, doing different events. So a tea can hold me all day. We also juice. I love to juice. My son loves to juice. I love me a good kale salad. Oh my gosh. But also trying to get whole grains too, stuff that's not as processed. And then trying different foods. My favorite is Indian.
I love Indian. And it's seasoned. Okay. We can get into that later.
Like chickpeas. Chickpeas is like a main dish, and rice.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is tea, which also keeps you hydrated. Absolutely. Eating fresh fruits and vegetables, grains. But with your son actually having the ruptured bowel, and like you said, something very important, everything starts in the gut, y'all, okay? Everything starts in the gut. So as a nurse, can you give us some tips on good gut health, that we should be doing to make sure that this down here stays good?
Right. So I do believe also in detoxing. Like rest the bowel.
Like how? We throw that word out, but what do you mean detox?
So just don't eat anything. Really.
Fasting.
Yeah. And I'm not saying like intermittent fasting. I haven't followed it before. I haven't done it myself. But I do say if your stomach is hurting, just don't eat. You can do lemon water, warm or hot, right? Or room temperature. Coconut water. Coconut water is so healthy if you can't eat. And then I'm a big believer in some watermelon. So if I'm feeling bad, or I know I had like a heavy meal the day before, or I just haven't been eating well, I'll start with some tea. Chai is my favorite. And then constant comment, like some English breakfast, I think. And Earl Grey. So, and then the flavored teas are pretty good. So start with some tea, and then I'll drink another bottle of water. I drink lemon water, cucumber water, mint water, put fruit in it. Pineapple water is really good too. Again, if you can't make this yourself, you can always buy some coconut water, keep it in the fridge, and then might have a salad. Or if I'm detoxing my gut, I just have fruit. Fruit all day. Fruit, tea, water, coconut water, mix it up. You can even add some electrolyte drops. You can get those from any health food store. And that really helps too.
Awesome. So Skittles the Nurse, talk to me about how you show up for your patients in Western medicine settings. I believe that you are on a contract now. How do you show up and help your patients be able to adjust to their holistic journey?
So I think the biggest thing right now for anyone is to educate them. If you know better, you'll do better, is that the whole little saying? And so if they don't know, and I do realize sometimes it takes multiple times to get somebody to understand what it is, because it's so much, like starting a new job or contract, learning any kind of medication. It is a lot. All the side effects. We have seen these commercials and it's like, oh, they go real fast on the side effects. But to help the patient is just at least understanding, and then resources. Because you may understand today, but in 3 days, I know my brain sometimes needs brain camp. And I need to have a reminder. So sometimes even just written material. And then YouTube University is so amazing for everything.
Do you feel that you get resistance, from people when you try to offer them holistic suggestions? Do you feel that they're so trusting of their doctors that they, don't really adapt to the holistic lifestyle like that?
Yeah. And because I think foundations are set, some people just don't want to change. It's like it's easier to take a pill or you might start to do a holistic journey, but then after a day or two, it's like, oh no. Or I've gotten patients that say, oh, I tried that and it didn't work. Well, if you've been eating fried chicken for 10 years or sweets and pasta, it's going to take a little bit of time to adjust to it. And I just think consistency, like I keep hearing consistent. Consistency.
You got 26 years in the game.
Yeah. And so, and also with consistency has changed, because like in nursing, in the Western medicine, everything is evidence-based practices and evidence-based medicine. That's why they keep changing medicines. They come up with these new drugs. It's because they tried this one. Oh, and it's a third generation of. So it builds upon. So we will always be learning. And I think with that being said, we have to keep up with the trends, keep up with the practices, keep up with the medicine and the holistic together. I think we both need to work together. I don't think it's a one-sided, because it has to be balanced with everybody. Yeah, I'm saying if I'm bleeding, I'm going to go to the hospital, right? I'm not just going to try to sprinkle some baking soda on it,
if I get stabbed in my leg or something like that, let me get this herb.
Right. So we have to work together, and I think it's more than enough for everybody.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody's trucking nothing in here from the moon or the aliens. It's us making it. So I believe we all got to work together. Yeah.
And really drive that point home that holistic medicine and Western medicine do have synergy. Where that synergy becomes a disconnect is when you have doctors and different people trying to discredit plant medicine. I got my degree in bio and chem, and what made me totally not want to go to medical school anymore was taking pharmacology and recognizing it wasn't just about the pills and the side effects, because we knew that. It was the brainwash, right? When I would try to ask about cannabis or anything like that, they didn't want to hear it at all. So, all right, y'all. we learned that we need to do that synergy with Western medicine and herbs, but we about to get into some good juiciness in our last wrap up here. Tell me about a wacky wellness story real quick, or a recipe or something that you had to adapt to the change with when it comes to holistic medicine. Do you have any wacky wellness stories?
Okay, so yes and no, right? Yes, because I'm always exposed to so many patients, and then with the contract, with the traveling nursing, the flight nursing, the different facilities, even the home health, doing the mobile IV hydration, right? You come across a lot of people, and you get to see a lot of things in how people live. So now at this point in my life, it's just, hey, that's how they do it.
You just open-minded.
I'm just open-minded, right?
Open-minded.
So I do learn, but of course, the lemonade diet was a good little wacky thing. It worked.
Yes, a lemonade diet, y'all.
Yeah. And then also the turmeric, lemon, ginger. I love me some ginger, y'all. It's hot, but it will get you right.
Awesome, y'all. Well, this was Ways of Wellness with Jessica, Skittles the Nurse. Let them know where they can follow you and how they can stay in contact with you.
So you can follow me on IG, Skittles the Nurse. Also, stay tuned. I am dropping a couple ebooks, and it's more so for anybody healthcare, not necessarily nurses, but any essential worker if you just want to know more. Also, I'm going to do an IV course, because how you a nurse and you don't know how to do IV? Ooh.
Right.
Yeah, and then also YouTube, TikTok, the Skittles University, where I'll be dropping all the gems and telling everybody.
I'm excited.
It'll be Q&As. It will be just some learning. I mean, whatever I can do, because I've come across a lot of people who just need some education, and on a level that's understandable. So I'm here for you.
Awesome. Well, we thank you for your time. We thank you for your stories, and we thank you for just pushing the holistic lifestyle.
Thank you
appreciate
so much.
you.
Thank you so much for having me. This was
Absolutely.
a blast.
All right. Thank you for watching, y'all. Until next time.